What's up, everybody, and welcome to the newest installment of the Endzone. Here to talk football with you, and you know, as always, it's your boy Craig, and with me,
your boy Ace.
And we're here to host the show once again. Before we get started, I gotta send a huge shout out to my Boston Bruins. You know, the one team that me and him can absolutely agree on about being Boston fans is the Bruins, and they have made it to the Stanley Cup, sweeping Carolina, and I know what has to be a huge surprise to everybody. I don't think anybody's necessarily surprised that they won, but the fact that they swept it, Bruins look like they're playing with a full gas tank, and everybody else is playing with half battery. So I hope that we can carry it all the way to the end. I don't know who. I think they're still going on with St. Louis and with the San Jose Sharks. So we'll see what happens there. We should be playing by sometime, maybe even this week or next week. So it looks good. I'm excited to see what happens. But my boy Ace has got a update for you.
So coming on this update, we got a few updates that's going on in the city of Lynn. The first update, a good friend of mine, Kyrie Todd, he has a boxing fight coming up June 14th at the Worcester Palladium. Ringside seats are $70 a pop. If you want general admission, $40. He's the co-main event. It's supposed to be a great fight. The doors open at 6 p.m. The fight starts at 7. So if you like boxing and you want to support a kid from the city, this will be a good fight to go check out. Up next,
let's show that support.
Yeah, show that support. You got to support the people who support you, always. Coming up next, we have the Protect Our Streets Community Awareness. It's a basketball game. There's about 5 different divisions. It is elementary game starts at 4 p.m. The middle school starts at 5. The women's game is at 6. The high school is at 7. And the men's division is at 8. It's on June 6, 2019. That's on a Thursday. The admission fee is $5. It's going to be held at Thurgood Marshall Middle School. This is held by Simi Anderson and Fred Hogan. They do get the support of our school committee member John Ford and State Rep Peter Capano. Fred Hogan is a Ward 6 counselor. That's my guy. So support the people who support you always. I'm going to give you a quick roster update of the teams. In the elementary division, the Team East. It's the East and West.
Yeah.
So the Team East is being coached by Calvin Johnson. On his team, he has a young kid, Travis Sanchez. If I get your name wrong, I'm sorry. Jacob Class, Indy Bautista, Marvin Avery, Cameron Thornton, Keith Chandler, J.O. Anderson, and Sam Phelps. Sounds like a pretty good team from the names that I just read off. On the west side, we got my guy Paul Berth. He's coaching that team. And Team West is Rowan Merriman, Giovanni Martinez, Cameron Weaver, Deshaun Rucker, Gio Jean, Cam Rucker, Izzy Pierre St. Jean, and Jason Perry. Those sound like... I watched a couple of these kids in the elementary school tournament. It sounds like it's going to be a battle right there. Nice. That sounds like a pretty good game.
I always got to root for Team East. Team East.
And then we have a middle school division. Team East is being coached by Marvin Avery in the middle school division. You got Mark Gerard, Marquise Avery, Nelson. I'm gonna say Nelson O because I'm not going to get that right. Jason Asmore, Josh Jean, Xavier Abreu, Chabru Mendy, and Mitchell Porter. And for the Team West, you got Coach Brian Diaz, you got Yanel Valansco, Leonel Rivera, Tyrese Garcia, Joel Bautista, Dante Rucker, Warren Kill, Glory Kambongo, and Yasar Al-Salvi. If I got that right, I'm sorry.
Kambungo, I think that might be related to
Makala. Could be Makala's peoples. Yeah. So who knows? So that's the middle school division. Up next, we have the high school division. I watched a lot of these kids play versus each other. The Team East is being coached by DeJuan Thornton. You got Jalen Johnson. You got Makai Anderson, you got Alonzo Langton, you got Justin Fitzpatrick, you got Demade, you got Jalen Thornton, Wallace Reed, and Robert Wallace. Wallace Reed, I like that kid. He's from KIP. He's a hooper.
All right.
The rest of the kids, they hoop, though, because that's English and classical. I know a lot of those kids on that team.
Yeah.
Team West is being coached by Jamal Boyd. They got Jarnell Guzman, Jalen Echevarria, Darrell Rucker, Jack Rodriguez, Jeffrey Barbosa, Jeffrey Hill, Josh Perez, and Mason Jean Baptiste. That's another squad. That sounds like a good battle too, right there.
All right. And that's only $5, man. You're about
$5.
to see some wars go on the court, and it's only $5 to watch. So.
And my favorite next is the adult division because these are a lot of people I grew up with or either watched them play. So I do know everybody off this list. So this is the girls. This is going to be the girls team. Team East is being coached by Betty Anderson. They got Ashley Barb. They got DeAndre Woon. They got Helen Ridley. They got Jeanette Anderson. They got Tori, I could just go with Tori. They got Renee Hamilton. They got Cassandra. And they got Sade Berry Rogers. You know a couple of those names, right?
I mean, Helen Ridley, woo. I know she's beast.
Yeah.
I went to school with Helen.
Yeah. And then on the Team West, it's being coached by my homie Danico Kelsey. You got Sherelle Saunders, St. Mary's girl. You got LaShonda Hogan. You got Catherine Stanton. You got Christina McKenzie. You got Jessica French. You got Tanika Brown. You got Brianna Rudolph. And you got Ebony White.
Oh,
that's another team right
Ebony
there.
White, we kind of, we related through marriage. I know Ebony White. I know you know whose name I almost hoped you said? Monique Dandridge.
Oh, Monique. Oh, yeah.
She was a baller.
Yeah,
in high school.
She don't live in Lynn right now.
I don't think she lives in Lynn, but I know that.
But it would always be great for her to come back and come play.
Like I feel like she's like. For when it comes to basketball, not even women's basketball. When it comes to basketball, like if you're from our age,
you a Harrington kid.
Yeah, you gotta know Mo, yo, because she balled up.
And then for the men's division, you got Team East being coached by Duke Wilson. You got Jasper Grasser, Alvin Abreu, Jarrell Bird, Quincy Q, my guy, Keandre Stanton, Paul Beckins, Luis Rivera, and Junior Martinez. And then on the Team West is being coached by Jeffrey Brito. You got Tony Gallo. You got Corey Bingham. You got Edwin Solosis. You got Kyle Dosset. You got Dorian Brown. You got Marcos Echeverria. You got Richie Warren. And you got Victor Smith. It's going to be a good matchup for every single division. It seems like the talent is balanced. Not one team is heavier than the next. I can't sit here and put on my own personal feeling on who I think is going to win because I have to be the neutral person.
Yeah.
But if you're from Lynn and you got time or from the North Shore area and you want to support a good cause and watch some old talent play and some of these young kids come up, it'll be a great event to go to.
Yeah, man. Once again, we always say, you got to support the people in your city because who else is going to do it if it's not us? We ain't supporting our own people. Who else is going to support them? So I think, go out, show the love, and show the support. It's $5 to see a lot of great games. That's a lot of games.
If you look at the women's and the men's, there's a lot of Division I basketball players on those rosters too. You know?
So
and sorry if I got your name wrong or botched, because some of the younger kids I really don't know your name, so that's why I couldn't.
We're not professional name pronouncers over here. We didn't get our name pronouncing degrees at Harvard. But please show out, show your support, come with your $5, and watch some good basketball. And is that all we got for that?
That's all we got for that.
All right, so now it's on to some football. We're going to start off with the Jets drama. So, Le'Veon Bell signs with the Jets. Now it's coming out that Adam Gase didn't want to spend the money on him, wanted to go with a less expensive running back. And then also, he doesn't show up to OTAs. You haven't played football in a year. I would think you'd want to show up to OTAs, but you are a seasoned vet. High-level running back. So they're also talking the possibility that before the season starts, he can get traded. So what do we think? What do we think about this drama?
It's drama.
Yeah.
Why would you give a guy all that money? He sat out from Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh didn't want to pay him.
Yeah.
And then New York actually paid him, and then now you're trying to talk about you want to trade him. Who can afford that contract?
Not a lot.
Not a lot of teams can afford that contract. So I think you got to take the good with the bad. I think the Jets drama, they're just battling to see who's the worst team in New York between them and the Giants, because every week it's something between one of those two teams and there's nothing positive. So it's like they need to bring some positivity back to light over there in New York. And I just think the best way to do it is you got to go out there, find a GM. Hopefully that GM could sit down with the coach and get something going, because it's like the season's here.
My biggest problem with this whole thing is players are gonna be players, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and they're gonna not do what they're not gonna do. We've created that culture for them. But when you're a coach and you're brought on to lead men, your first act can't be saying you don't want the star that you got. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want him, like, keep that in house. Keep that to yourself. Like, Le'Veon Bell is high talent, and he's gonna do what he has to do. He's gonna come in, he's gonna perform because he don't know how to not play football.
Exactly.
But how are you building his confidence? This is your team. This is your job. If he doesn't perform and he doesn't get the work done, then how does that help you? How does destroying his confidence and your confidence in him help your team?
It doesn't, because it's like, even like someone like Bell, he's going to open it up for New York. And as I mean open it up is like a good run game always help out a pass game. And that pass game was actually really good last year. It wasn't great, but it was good. It was
if
good
everybody
enough.
stayed healthy, it would have been
A lot
middle
better.
of the pack.
Yeah, and so with a dynamic running back like that can catch passes out the backfield, the downhill runner, he get that nice hesitation to open himself up. It's like, just let him play football.
Exactly.
Like, I understand the OTA part, but it's kind of like you said, seasoned veterans really don't participate in that. That's more so like a rookie camp. But if you show up, you show up. So it's kind of like you can't really be penalized for that, because the more, if you look at it, it's like a lot of guys don't show up for OTAs, but it's just, you just talk about the big names who don't show up. But it's like, come on.
So I agree. I just think that it was a huge mistake for Gase to put that out into the world. Because now you're going to have, even, like, if you didn't have a problem with Le'Veon Bell, you're going to have an attitude. I think there's going to be an attitude problem, because he's going to know you don't want him and you're being forced to work with him. And I think that was a terrible way to start off your season. And, I mean, they did really build up a credible offense. They got Ty Montgomery. They got Jamison Crowder. You know, they got that second-year tight end in Herndon, plus all the wide receivers they had the year before. You have this team you've developed around a second-year quarterback. Don't ruin it before the season starts. And they are making the move to get a GM. There was this talk about them wanting Peyton Manning, and then that got squashed real quickly. I'm hearing that Joe Douglas is the favorite to take on the GM position. I don't really know who Joe Douglas is, but, if they get a GM, they get a GM. But I think Adam Gase caused more problems than he...
You just need to slow it down a little bit.
Just get your head in the game, focus on football and not anything else.
Absolutely agree.
All right, so in my opinion, some really big news is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have cut ties with Gerald McCoy. That's a huge surprise to me.
Yeah.
You got a team that's defense was abysmal, and I feel like Gerald McCoy might be like one of your best pieces.
Yeah.
So that's weird to me.
But I understand it's weird, but in the sense of things, it's kind of like, you cut ties with him because they wanted to trade him, but nobody wanted to pick up that $13 million contract. So it's kind of like, it was all like a money issue. So it's like, if you can't trade him and get down for him, then you got to get rid of him because you can't pay that. And then you also, we'll talk about it later, but you also picked up someone else in order to place that, probably for a cheaper price. A lot cheaper price, and probably 1 year deal for cheaper price. So it's like, you actually, in sense of things, they actually save money. What I was looking at is there's like 5 teams that do want him, though. It's Seattle, Dallas, the Colts, and Chargers, and the Browns. Those are like the top 5 runners for him, because those are the teams that really can afford him. So if he gets to any one of those teams, I think he's going to help out with that defense, and he'll do good anywhere else he goes, because he is a great player. But I think it just was so... It wasn't like bad blood in Tampa Bay. It's just that they couldn't afford him anymore.
Exactly. They didn't part ways on bad terms, and I love when that happens. I love when it's just like, listen, we can't afford to keep you. We're gonna replace you with someone a little bit cheaper. We're gonna let you sign to whatever team you decide to sign to. I heard the rumors about the teams going after him too. I definitely heard Cleveland. Jacksonville, I actually heard, and then the Patriots. I don't want the Patriots to go after him because I think that, I love the idea of getting him.
They have enough, man. You want them to have the whole world.
Yeah, exactly. You can't have the whole world, and you can't have 3-star linebackers playing in the same game. Plus, when you have edge rushers, they're normally listed as linebackers, so that would make 4 when you put Michael Bennett in the talks. That's 4 high-level linebackers. As much as it would be great to have that rotation, I don't think that's feasible. I said it before, like, I like the idea of him going to Cleveland. That would just make their defense even more monstrous. And, you know, Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham have talked about wanting him to come there. But I didn't hear Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
I love that because they could use defensive help.
Colts, Chargers could be good.
Yeah,
Dallas
Chargers could be good.
Those 5 teams that, and then, you know, Seattle got rid of a lot of people too, so he can even help them over there. But if I was to pick out of those 5 teams that I would want to see him to go to, I would say the Browns because I think they just got a lot of young talent, a lot of studs over there. I think that could just give them that extra boost. I'm not saying a boost for a Super Bowl, but I'm just saying like a boost to win a couple playoff games. That's better than what you've been doing over the last 10 years. So, you know.
The thing I like about Gerald McCoy is he is like a football player's football player. He ain't out there, you know, doing stupid stuff.
Yeah.
He comes, he does his job, and he goes home. And I think he could be a great role model for some of those young guys.
Absolutely.
And maybe be one of those guys who can rail in Odell Beckham, you know, keep that drama down to a minimum. So we'll see what happens with Gerald McCoy. And we'll keep you updated as things progress. Real quickly, just a little spritz of news out there. Ezekiel Elliott gets handcuffed. So Ezekiel Elliott's in Vegas, gets into an altercation with a security guard, pushes him to the ground. Police see it, they handcuff him. Security guard doesn't want to press charges. What do we think about that?
I just think Zeke's a knucklehead because it's like
perfect
this
word.
This ain't his first altercation with the cops.
Yeah.
Like, who knows the way the NFL's throwing out things, he could be suspended for a little bit.
Yeah.
A couple games or whatever like that.
Probably a game.
Yeah, but it's like, how many times could you, like we say, he's becoming an offender. Like, keep
habitual.
on doing it. Yes, and it's like, how many times they gonna let him go before they actually smack him over the head? And we talked about this in the last 2 episodes on different players getting into different trouble and getting, like, you know, suspensions and stuff like that we felt that wasn't good. But how many times could this guy just be partying, getting drunk, and getting into something? Like, he's always into something, and it's always in Vegas.
Yeah, man.
And then he was with a girl. Like,
yeah, you gotta protect your career. Like, this is your job, and you're in the public eye, so everything you do publicly affects you in your business, and you just gotta you gotta put your thinking cap on, bro, and get yourself straight in line. And you and all your Cowboys fans need to find the security guard and buy him a round of drinks.
Yes,
because he might have saved you a season. Wanting to press charges, you know, you might not do any jail time, but you probably get sued. You probably get suspended for maybe 6 games.
Yeah.
So you better thank your lucky stars that you got a security guard who, you know, treated this like a man-on-man altercation.
Yeah.
All right, so we won't spend any more time on the ridiculousness of Ezekiel Elliott. What we will spend a little bit of time in is my boy Jamie Collins coming home to New England. And I was really happy about this because to me it made sense.
Okay.
My thinking is, you know, Patriots trade you away, whether it's locker room problems or not wanting to pay you money when your contract's up. You go to Cleveland.
Before you get going, it wasn't like a locker room issue. I would say it's more of a money issue.
Money
with the
issue.
Patriots.
And I bet you it probably was that, you know, because the Patriots don't like to pay the big bucks.
Because, you know, the Patriots locker room, even if they have locker room problems, that don't get out into the media ever.
Yeah,
they take a chance on Randy Moss and all these guys that come through. Like, they shut you down. Like, they shut you down before you.
Although there was the what's his name, Gray. Remember he had that 4-touchdown game.
Yeah.
Shows up late to practice. See you later to Miami, and then he disappears from the NFL. You know, so sometimes we do have the players have egos and they move on. Yeah, Ocho Cinco.
Once he started, they see you
later. So. But for argument's sake, we're just going to say it was probably the money issue. He goes to Cleveland, gets his paycheck, gets his money, and then comes home to play to win instead of to play for a paycheck. So he gets his 1-year contract, his little prove-it deal, and he plays for the Patriots, maybe even for the remainder of his career, because he's not playing for money no more. He's playing for how many rings he can get before his reign is over.
Yeah. He had 104 combined tackles last season.
Wow.
Who wouldn't want a guy like that?
Yo.
Like, that just puts that defense to a boost because it's like you have a run stopper back again. You know,
exactly.
You got a leader.
stopper,
You
yep.
got a guy that knows the Patriots way. Like we always talk about the Patriots way, so he knows it. So it's like with him in there, you know what you're getting. Like
Exactly.
off the rip.
That's the best part. Like he knows what he's coming into. He already understands what's going to happen. We know what we can get out of him, and maybe even a little bit more because he was played a little bit differently in Cleveland. They had him on the edge here and there, even though he doesn't like to play it. But he's probably picked up some gems while in Cleveland. Now he's going to bring those over to New England. I think this, and then it's back to being him and Hightower again, a match made in heaven. So the only thing we're not going to get to see Jamie Collins do that I know everybody used to love is when it comes time to kick a field goal and he's jumping over the pack for the block. It's funny. The Patriots are the reason why that rule that they instilled that rule you can't jump over no more. Because first it was Jamie Collins, then it was Van Noy jumping the pack. So I'm happy about this move. I think that it's the right time and we always need bolster to our defense.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Jamie Collins, welcome home. We missed you. Next we move on. Yeah, we missed you over here on this side of the table. So moving on, we got Big Ben puts out an apology to Antonio Brown, reaches out, doesn't get a reply back. I know there was a tweet by Antonio Brown that just said two-faced. What's your take on this?
Actually, I wanted to hear your take before I go into it because my take might be a little bit different from yours. So I just want to hear.
Well, first off, I respect any man who will publicly apologize. I don't know if I like the fact that he publicly said that he reached out and AB didn't return. Y'all are men who worked together for many years. You are even if there's drama between the two of you, in essence, you're brothers. You ain't supposed to put family business out in the street. Saying that you apologize publicly is okay. Saying he didn't get back to you, I don't like that. If he didn't get back to him and he got the apology, I don't respect. You don't have to forgive, but you can accept an apology by a man. So
here's my take on it.
Yes.
For the last 8 seasons, they put up 74 touchdowns together.
Yeah.
Played in the locker room. The comment that Big Ben made to start all this drama was, I wish I threw it to Juju 4 straight downs. When they was playing versus Denver, there was 1 minute left. They passed it to Juju first down. Nothing happened. Second down, they go to Connor. He gets stopped in the backfield. Third down, he tries to hit AB on the slant on the 3-yard line and gets picked by a defensive lineman. How is that AB's fault? Number one. So that's how this drama all started. And so and then you go on a radio station saying, on his own personal radio station, he goes and saying, hey, AB should have ran a better route. You got picked by a defensive lineman. You should have threw a better ball.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So that's how the drama started. And then when AB starts firing back, now he's the bad guy. Because, Big Ben is protected by the Pittsburgh Steelers, the ownership, the coach, Tomlinson. And then that Week 17 game, when they was fighting to go to the playoffs, he didn't play that game. And that's when Juju made that fumble, like when he dropped the fumble, I'm sorry. He made a big play that made him lose the game, basically.
I remember.
And AB's kind of like, haha, in your face, like, y'all kind of needed me. And then a month or two later, he put in a trade request to be traded. So it's kind of like, Big Ben, all this stuff was going on. You could have been apologized to homie. Ooh. You waited months on end for a man to accept your apology, for a man to get traded from his home. He was in Pittsburgh his whole career. His whole livelihood changed going to Oakland. Yeah, as fans, we want to see people go different places, but it's like, we forget, these guys is human. Mm-hmm. These guys have a livelihood. They have their family. His kids was in school, probably out there, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, now you wait till when the season's about to start to be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I wish I didn't say that. Like, you the one that got the whole world against this one man because of the words that you said. Yeah. So I think a lot of people tend to forget that this whole beef and drama between Juju and AB and Big Ben started off with Big Ben first. By the comments that he made.
See, I did not know that.
Yeah, so a lot of people forget that. So it's like you guys do all this, and then it's like you waited for all this stuff to happen to come out with an apology, and you want him to accept the apology.
And also that's how they're selling it as poor Big Ben. He apologizes and AB blows him off. Shame on you, Big Ben.
Yeah. So it's like now he wants to be like, oh yeah, well, I reached out to him to apologize. You probably just reached out to him to apologize, so he didn't want to hear it from you. But it's like,
because it was late.
Yeah.
Now he gonna make you hold on.
yeah, and then that third down play, not to mention, they have the ball on the 3-yard line. It was almost like the Patriots versus Seattle in the Super Bowl game. 3-yard line, does the play action, boom, fake it to the running back, and then tries to throw it on a slant. He got picked at like right in the beginning of the end zone. AB's slant was in the back of the end zone, in the back, like the back white line of the end zone. So it was kind of like, how was it? You saying he should have went flatter, like run a slant flatter, but you still got picked by a lineman.
Yeah.
A D lineman picked, not a linebacker.
Yeah, not a corner, not a safety. Not even a safety.
A defensive lineman.
Defensive lineman.
So how was that his, like, you know, like, and that's why I look and I always, me personally, I always I always look into like bigger picture things. When people talk and like there's a fight or argument, I want to know the gut of it. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what
you got to be able to see every side. And I agree with you. I'm that way too. I always like to, in arguments, sometimes I'll agree with what the person's saying, but I'll play devil's advocate for a second. Be like, well, I see this side of it as well. Like I agree with you, but I see this side of it as well. And that's the only way you can resolve anything is by all like knowing how you feel, but also seeing the other side of it and seeing how it could be right.
Yeah, so I agree with you that like you can forgive but don't forget. So it's like as a man, he apologized. So okay, you could have accepted the apology, or you couldn't have because you felt like this man changed my whole life. He still got paid, but it's like this man changed my whole life. So why would I want an apology from him or anybody in Pittsburgh? So I understand from both point of views. Like as a man, yes, you accept apology, but and a guy that ruined your whole livelihood, you might not want that apology. And it's kind of like you guys had something great going, y'all. You know, like, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like I think AB kind of overreacted a little bit when it comes to like the social media aspect of it because it's like he kept going with it. He should have just left it be and let this stuff come out to light. Like I watched him on LeBron James' show, The Barbershop, and that's when he kind of like breaks it down to you like on what really happened and what really transpired between them. And it's kind of like, okay, so now after you see that Barbershop episode, and then now you see months later after that Barbershop episode, Big Ben's apologizing, who's really wrong? Wow. You get what I'm saying? Because if Big Ben wasn't wrong, he wouldn't apologize. He would have just let he just would have let the media keep on bashing AB as he's the bad guy. But now the media has to do a backflip now and kind of like take back what they say. I saw Stephen A. I saw all these guys just sit here and badmouth him over this whole situation, whereas you guys forget how it all started. You know what I mean? So that's why I just don't like that aspect of it. And I felt like it could have been handled a lot different than the way it was.
And I think a little bit maybe AB fed into his own fire by he where Ben like just laid back and let the fire burn. AB was throwing gasoline on it, making himself almost appear to be the villain, when in actuality he was just reacting to what happened to him. Is that breaking news? Let's see if we got breaking news. All right, so when it comes to Big Ben and AB, you know, it is what it is at this point. You know, Big Ben, you know, maybe he made a mistake in what he said. Maybe AB reacted poorly. But, you know, let's hope that situations get resolved. You always want to see situations get resolved than to fester. Moving on, real quick news. Reuben Foster got injured, looking like it could be a season-ending injury. That's a big loss for Washington. Reuben Foster is a hell of a player, and they actually took a risk picking him up to begin with because of the charges against him. You know, there was a lot of backlash about them picking up Reuben Foster, and they picked him up like before the situation had gotten resolved. So I don't know what's going to go on with that, but looks like he's hurt. But we don't have to spend too much time on that one. In my eyes, some good news. Danny Shelton gets re-signed, the defensive tackle, to New England. He wasn't a big factor in the regular season, but I know when it came time for playoffs and Super Bowl, he was a huge factor in the run stop. What do you think about this signing?
I think you know, he always wants to talk about the Patriots, so I gotta talk about you guys for a second.
Know it.
I just think he was on the market for 2 months, so any team could have got him in that 2 month span. So I just think Patriots got to steal with him. Like,
absolutely.
They let him go out there and test the market. He realized that he wasn't going to get whatever he expected, so he took what the Patriots gave him. But when you got a guy like Lawrence Guy and Malcolm Brown, he gives them guys a break. So it's like when he comes in, maybe first down or second down, he's able to give them a rest before they go on third down and make a play. So it's like they needed that because I think last season he had 21 tackles, but most of those tackles was run-stop tackles.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what you guys need, run-stop. So I think he complements Jamie Collins coming there too. So he helps out, keep guys fresh, keep guys in rotation. So he's like a rotation player. So I think that helps you guys a lot.
He's sufficient.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay big bucks for him, and we could put him in just when we need him. And he's one of those guys who, will, as long as he's healthy, will always be fresh.
Yeah, because he played in 13 games last season and only started one game. So he's not like a starter or anything, but he is a good rotation player. So that helps out with a lot.
So I like this pickup. I don't think it's a huge deal, but I did want to touch on it a little bit because it's the New England Patriots. All right, next on the list, just to keep informed, Julian Edelman gets his extension, 2-year deal, worth $18 million, and it also brings up his guaranteed money to $12 million. You already know that I love this move. I mean, Julian Edelman is like the beating heart of this offense, and it doesn't work as well when he's not there.
Agreed.
Yeah.
He deserves to get paid.
He does. I mean, he's got one of the most one of the most remarkable catches, not just in Super Bowl, but in like football. That against Atlanta, that catch, man, every time I see that, it puts a smile on my face.
But not only just that, it's just like again, he's one of these guys. They work out all the time. Yep. They go to Wyoming and work out privately and stuff like that. So it's like, that just helps the cause. That just shows you that they really wanted him because, Patriots would have shipped him off, no problem. So that shows that he is the true Patriot, and that's what they want to keep him for.
And he comes in, he does his job, no drama in the news. There's not enough good things I think you could say about Julian Edelman when it comes to his reign on the Patriots. And one of the things I love, with players like Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski, Tom Brady, Devin McCourty, even Dante Hightower, career guys. They've been on this team, and they started on this team. They're gonna finish their career on this team, and they're like big name players. Like a lot of times you get big name players that they play for one team for a long time, move on to another team for a few more years, and then they play their final season on a team that is willing to take a chance on them. And we ride guys until the good guys, we ride them until the wheels fall off because they appreciate the culture in New England where it's not about getting paid, it's about winning championships. And Julian Edelman is definitely one of those guys who understood it. I like Julian Edelman. He came in to replace Wes Welker, but if you remember, he used to play defense too. He used to play cornerback. So he's done everything that's ever been asked for him.
He's also a special teams guy.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago, he led the league in yards on punt returns and kick returns. He led the league 1 year in yards, and to me, that a guy who can do all that and every once in a while throw a touchdown pass. You know what I'm saying? You can't ask for more from this guy, so I'm excited. Yeah, I'm super excited to be able to retain him. All right, we'll move on from there. Next, we have 2 retirees. One that we probably don't really care about. The other one might have a little bit to say. But Jared Valdier signed a 1-year contract with the New England Patriots and then informed the Patriots he's going to retire. But then the next guy, who is also a former Patriot and one of only 2 guys to win 2 Super Bowls back-to-back on 2 separate teams, and that's your boy Chris Long, decides that he is going to retire. And that's a guy I would like to maybe spend a few seconds talking about. How you feel about that?
Well, Chris Long is Chris Long.
Yeah, man.
He was dominant. But, the thing about the NFL is this. It's like a lot of guys are starting to see that it's about who you become after football.
Yeah.
Not who you are during football. A lot of these people forget, football's a dangerous sport. Concussion protocol now, CTE now, Parkinson, all that stuff incorporates into football. And when you're playing years of football, those things happen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, for you to walk away and be okay, I'm okay with that. You
Yes.
already got your Super Bowls.
Yep.
You got your money. So now you got to have your livelihood, enjoy your family, take vacations, chill out. You know,
And guys
party
like
a little
Chris
bit.
Long who played football, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like they just weren't on a team, they played football. You know, he came in when we needed someone to replace Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
And I think he did a hell of a job stepping into a team and helping us make our way to the Super Bowl. And he was a big part of that. And then used that. You know, the one thing I love that players do, and I'm okay with it being a Patriots fan, is they come to the Patriots to earn that big paycheck from another team.
Yeah.
They come in and they come into our system, they do what we ask, and they do it big. They earn their paycheck, they go to another team. Some of them do really well, some of them don't. But Chris Long is a guy who I really respect because, you know, he's a football player.
Yeah, he has nothing to prove anyways. Like, he did his time. He did his due.
Not a lot of drama, just a good football player. You know, you got another brother who plays, I think he plays defensive lineman too, right? I forgot. Kyle Long? I think Kyle Long plays for the Bears, I want to say.
The Bears?
I'm not sure. I know he has a brother, and I think it's Kyle Long. I don't know what team he plays for, though. First thought in my mind was the Bears, but that could be just because I'm thinking about someone else. I don't know. All right, so we say farewell. Jared Bell here, Chris Long. Thank you for putting on shows for us. You know, a few months out of the year, giving us something to watch, and you'll be missed. Next, real quick little update. Andrew Luck gets a calf sprain. No OTAs this week. You know, I don't think. Yeah,
rub it out.
Exactly. I think that he's too determined to come back to let something like that hold him back, and that doesn't seem like something that's going to affect him in 3 months. So,
but you never know though, because some of these baby injuries really do take a toll on you in the long run.
Yeah.
So you really never know. Just hopefully that he's healthy because he worked so hard to get back, and hopefully he can get back to where he was at. But I would say, just get healthy, man. That's the key. You always want to stay healthy.
Sometimes they rush back from a small injury too soon, and it becomes more serious.
So this goes back to what we were saying at the beginning of the show is OTAs. You get what I'm saying? That's why some guys don't. That's why some superstar guys or high caliber guys don't do it, because that's risking injuries. That's all drills. All drills. That's all you're doing all day is drills, drills, drills. So it's kind of like, if you already know the system, if you already been in the system and you know how things work, you don't really need that. Like, it's not like you're missing practice. You're not. You're just missing drills, like summer workouts. Like, we call that summer workouts in high school football. Like, you know, summer workouts is optional. You know, kids go on vacation, so it's like, in this sense of things, it's optional. So you really can't really knock it, you know?
I don't disagree with that at all. I always think it's funny when they make a big deal about players. And I think, you know, you said it.
Then you don't say nothing. Like,
yeah, exactly. Oh, maybe you should have skipped OTAs then, you know? And I agree what you had said to me before the show is that, like, they only make a big deal when your name is big. If your name rings out and you miss OTA, they say it because it's newsworthy. You know, saying a big person's name and saying that they didn't do something that, you know, they were supposed to do, it always makes waves. So now I think this is, to me, this seems like one of the biggest updates. You know, I feel like the NFL is just hooking us up with all types of content right before the show starts, because I swear to God, we got like 3 or 4 updates today that, you know, literally it just happened to give us content for today's show. But Donkey Kong Sue gets signed to Tampa Bay, which kind of makes sense, giving up Gerald McCoy. How do you feel about this pickup?
I like this pickup for them because, like you said, you gave up Gerald McCoy, who you felt was too expensive, and then you bring in Sue, who you got for a 1-year deal, which will be a little bit less, so he has to play for his contract. Only thing about Sue is Sue has that bad guy image, that bad guy reputation, because he's always getting fined and stuff like that in the league. So I think, like,
big penalty guy.
Yeah, so I think hopefully he can. But I would want to see him control himself there in Tampa Bay. But it's like he just don't know how to control himself. Every team he plays on, he gets fined. Think about it. This is his 3rd team in the last 3 seasons. Like, you get what I'm saying?
I know. So I felt like he was a little bit more contained on the Rams. I don't know.
But
Maybe
he only played one season there.
yeah, you only play. Yeah, you didn't have time, and I think playing next to a professional like Aaron Donald might have helped him, and that might be the one thing that might be allow him to go back. You don't have the likes of a Gerald Butler, like a true professional, to say, hey man, don't do that dirty stuff. You know what I'm saying? You got a guy like Jameis Winston who's biting pieces of W's off his fingers and making no sense. This is a team that I feel like I'm glad that he got signed to a team that's stacked with talent, but I feel like it's a team that has talent they don't know what to do with.
Yeah. But he always picks a hot spot though. Yeah. Miami, LA. Now he's in Florida.
Yeah, you want that heat. I
Florida,
think the last time he was in
Florida, he gonna say if his contract's $9 million, that's what he's gonna get because Florida don't have taxes, so he gonna get that bag.
Yeah,
so if he's trying to get that money for this 1 year, he can make it. But I just want to see him just not get fined this year.
You probably know why he plays in all cold weather teams because he started in Detroit cold. He was like, I never want to be cold like this again. Man, that's a team to play for. But
he was in Detroit for what, 5 seasons? Yeah,
I know he was there for at least 4, at minimum 4, maybe 5. Because I remember that was when he stepped on Aaron Rodgers' ankle on purpose, he stepped back on purpose right onto his ankle. I remember being like, yo, this is the dirtiest dude in the league, yo. Wow. But he is an extremely talented guy, someone you definitely like to watch. So I think that there's a lot of good things in the future for a guy like Sue, and hopefully he can help build up that defense because Tampa Bay, man. I'm so frustrated with that team. I almost want to talk about them a little bit longer because I'm so frustrated.
Okay.
Do you agree with me that they need to move on from Jameis Winston?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. The thing about Jameis Winston is you got to bring in someone who can push him, and you can bring in a quarterback. Yeah, I say you move away from him.
He's not. Yeah. He is not like. I don't even think
I always like to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
But in his situation, it's coming like...
Bro, you had Mike Evans, who could arguably be a top 5 wide receiver. You have Chris Godwin, really good talent, young wide receiver. You had Adam Humphries, gritty slot receiver. Yeah. You had Deshaun Jackson.
T-Jack,
all
that's my guy.
On the same offense. Then you also have, at least for the beginning of the season, O.J. Howard, in the tight end position. And I think they even had, what is it? No, is it Washington has Vernon Davis? Maybe it is Washington. They have
Washington has Vernon.
Yeah, Cameron Brate, my bad.
Yeah.
They got Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard. That, if you tell me that's your offense right there, those are your weapons, I'm saying instant playoffs.
But the thing is this too, is he's Jameis Winston. I think it's more so that offensive coordinator too, because they have him sitting in the pocket. When he played for Florida State, he was never sitting in the pocket. Mm-hmm. He was always play action, roll out, let it ride, or he was running. Yeah. So it's kind of sometimes it's almost like watching a Cam Newton this past season sit in the pocket and throw the ball. That's not his style.
No.
His style
he can't do that.
His style is throwing on the run. That's why he suffered the injuries that he did and stuff like that, because it's a different when you have a guy that's a rollout quarterback than a guy that's a pocket quarterback. Those are two different styles.
Way two different styles.
And I think you gotta play sometimes if you want Jameis Winston to be your man like that and to be the starter as he's been, you gotta kind of play to his qualities, to play to how he plays the game.
Yeah.
And that's how you got to coach.
And you need a better offensive line. Yeah. I do agree with you. I've been a firm believer, and I almost want to say that, I don't know if Bill Belichick said this or not, but I know it was said at one point in time, and when I heard it, it made me see the game completely differently. If you get drafted to the NFL, or you get signed to the NFL, it's because you're an NFL quality player. Any player that doesn't succeed in the NFL, unless they're a problem, it's usually because they're improperly coached. They're being asked to do things that they're not good at. They're being put in positions to to fail and not giving them the opportunity and the proper coaching to succeed. And sometimes it's not necessarily the coach's fault. It's just that they don't, they're not seeing.
It's just the coach's system.
Yeah,
it's more so systems.
Yeah. So I think that maybe it might not be that Jameis Winston isn't a starting quarterback for the NFL. I think it's just the wrong team and or wrong coaching.
Yeah.
So I would like to give him the opportunity to go to a team like, say, Miami or not anymore, Washington.
You gotta count them out.
I can't go to Washington no more. There's got to be a team or two out there that could use a quarterback like Jameis Winston. I'd like to see him be, before they decided to go after Kyler Murray, I was really hoping that Arizona was going to trade for Jameis Winston. Maybe trade like a 3rd round pick, get Jameis Winston, and then use that 1st round pick to go after, the likes of Quinnen Williams or something like that. I really was hoping that they'd make that move because.
But as a GM, why would you take it? You wouldn't take, as a GM, I don't think you would trade for Jameis Winston unless you're trading for him to be a backup. You know what I'm saying? Like we're saying, Tampa Bay, he's not doing much.
Yeah.
But so if I'm a me personally, if I'm a GM and I have a chance on a guy like Jameis Winston, I'm gonna take him as my backup quarterback or make him play.
Maybe like a team like Green Bay.
Yeah.
Where like you have a quarterback who's high level, but he's also prone to injury. You could bring.
He might not be good out in Green Bay because of weather. He played in hot weather ever since college.
And he's from down south.
Yeah. So it's like finding that right fit for him to be successful, it's tough.
That is tough. So maybe I was right originally just saying him going to Miami.
Yeah, Miami would work.
Might have been the best option. But even then.
He's a Florida State guy, so.
Yeah, but even then they got Ryan Fitzpatrick, who I thought played better than Jameis Winston.
Facts.
It made me mad when he had like a really bad game, and then they went to Jameis Winston, and then back to Ryan. Like every time one of them had a bad game, they would go back to the other, and that's a bad way to play football.
And you got to think about it too. Is like with Ryan Fitzpatrick there, it seemed like the receivers was playing for him.
Yes.
Like there's games where he threw for like 4 touchdowns. There's games where I watched where he made comebacks and put up 40-something, 50-something points.
Yeah.
So he was a scoring machine for a second, but then the next game, his inconsistency kicked in, and then the next game, he'd throw 3-4 picks, and then now you got to put in Jameis Winston. You get what I'm saying? And vice versa. Jameis Winston can go out there and play a good game, and it's just the inconsistency between both of them. That's why they're always trying to be quick to pull the trigger on both of them, because both of them are so inconsistent that you don't know who to go with, and you're gonna be pulling your hair out all the time, trying to figure out who's gonna be that guy.
Roulette of quarterbacks. Like if we put you in, are you gonna perform? And if you're not, we're just gonna put the other guy in and hope for the best.
And that's how it was.
You know when that was the biggest problem to me, and I know a lot of people disagree with me on this one, is I felt that way about Tyrod Taylor in Cleveland. If like part of it was the system. Like I felt like I get it. Tyrod Taylor is an elusive quarterback, but it felt like every play was designed for him to run. You know what I'm saying? Like they just kept designing plays for him to take off and not, because Tyrod Taylor is somewhat of an accurate quarterback. He has, like in Buffalo, he had a high accuracy rate, so he can throw the ball. But I felt like they just kept throwing run plays. And then when he was throwing the ball, he was struggling to get the ball off. Then Baker Mayfield comes in, and it felt like the players got excited to play for him, and then they were making plays, getting open, and he was getting thrown the ball. They didn't design plays for him to run out and go somewhere, and that's not his game. But I felt like if they would have ran the same plays that they did with Baker Mayfield, I don't think Tyrod Taylor would have been better than Baker Mayfield.
Nowhere near.
Yeah, I don't think he'd have been better. But I like
Tyrod
Taylor.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, and that goes to say what we're saying is, with Tyrod Taylor, when you have to do those rollouts, a receiver either blocking for a little bit and then going on his route, it's different than when you have a pocket quarterback who can sit in the pocket and look to one side and throw it to the next side, look you off. Things like that helps you out as a receiver. It gives you time. As a receiver, you always got a 3-second clock in your head. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, ball. You got to expect the ball.
Yeah.
So with someone like Tyrod Taylor, it's almost like you always have to keep extending the plays because he has to get out the pocket in order to throw the ball. Baker Mayfield was a guy that could sit in the pocket and let it rip. And that was the difference, and that ball was coming out a lot faster, so it make it look like a lot easier. You get what I'm saying? And same thing with dude in Baltimore.
Lamar Jackson. Yeah.
You see the difference? When he was in there, they had a lot of plays where he was rolling out. There was a lot of run plays or roll out plays. Because it's like, I'm going to either hand it off or I'm going to fake the handoff, play action. Because once you do that play action, you're freezing the defense. So you freeze that defense for that 1 or 2 seconds. Now you roll out the pocket and then you let it rip downfield. So it's like, it's a different
Lamar
style.
Jackson a lot better at that than Tyrod Taylor.
But that's what I'm saying is, they kind of had the same problems. You get what I'm saying? But the difference with Lamar Jackson, he played on a better team. You get what I'm saying? So it was an easy fix because at the end of the day, they kept him out. They found out, okay, he can launch the ball. He got the arm, so he can launch it outside the pocket. So let's get him outside the pocket and let's run a lot more play actions than just sitting here having him sit in the pocket and getting crushed.
See, I think that
because they call happy feet. Like a guy that can't sit in the pocket, he got happy feet. He's looking for that blindside hit. Compared to you outside and you see it more.
I think opposite of Jameis Winston, they should have tried to keep Tyrod Taylor in the pocket. Like, he might not have been the greatest at it, but I think that, to me, that was more of the problem, is that they wanted him to be this play action, make it happen with your feet. But I think they should have tried with an offensive line like they have in Cleveland. I feel like they should have tried to keep him in the pocket and try to make those type of plays. And I think that I think he could have been better.
He could have, but at the end of the day, look what Baker Mayfield did with that same team. He changed that team around.
Yeah, he did.
One game away from the playoffs.
And
that same team that they had that was over for seasons on end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you get this young guy there, and he starts winning games because he's a quarterback.
Yes.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He understands reads. It's like, just like I tell you at the line.
Me.
Yeah, at the line, you could check this, check that. And the boy got heart. And that's the difference. He plays with a big heart. And he shows everybody love.
That's what I love.
Yeah.
Is he does play with heart. Like, you could tell, I think, like, he has, like, that good poise, kind of like Drew Brees, but I think he has that love of the game, like
passion.
Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, sometimes I love Cam Newton, sometimes I don't, but the one thing I will always love about Cam Newton is when Cam Newton's out there, it's
he's
like
having fun.
Yeah, he's on a neighborhood street, cars on either end, you know what I'm saying, just playing pickup football with his friends, and you could tell, man, like, he's out there having a good time. He gets super mad when he's not doing good, but like super happy and excited when he's doing well. Like, he's a fun guy to watch play the game.
You heard it from me first. You ready for this?
Yeah.
This year,
yes,
with the wide receiver core and everything that Baker Mayfield has, you're a fantasy guy.
Yes.
Long as he stays healthy,
he
could be a top 5 fantasy quarterback this year. Coming up.
So,
long as he stays healthy.
You actually lose that bet because Craig have him listed at number 5.
Okay.
Number 5, for me, it's Patrick Mahomes, Andrew Luck, Drew Brees, iffy about Aaron Rodgers, then Baker Mayfield.
I like that.
And you want to know something? I would not be surprised if Baker Mayfield, fantasy-wise, surpasses Aaron Rodgers.
I didn't want to jump over the bridge. I just wanted to keep it real. Because I would say he's going to be, in the fourth to fifth slot.
Yeah.
Like, I can't put him ahead of Brady. You can't put him in front of Patrick Mahomes, and you can't put him in front of Drew Brees.
No.
But he's going to be right there. He's going to be neck and neck. So I just think, me personally, I'm a Baker Mayfield guy. I respect him.
He didn't play the first 6 games, right? Mm-hmm. So, and he went, I think, like 9-3. Is that
something like that?
Maybe like 9-3 or 9-2.
Yeah.
So now you put that together. We'll say he only lost, for argument's sake, a third of his games. So now you put him in those 6 games. He only loses 2 more. He wins 4 more. Not only do they make it into the playoffs, but they're like 13-3.
Could be.
So or 12.
I would give him. I would
12-4 maybe.
I would say if he was to start. If he would have started the beginning of the season, I'm just saying, off of what he did and how he played, he could have at least won 11 games, 10 to 11 games.
Yeah.
I'm not going to juice him up and say 15, 14, 13, because that's Brady numbers. That's Drew
Even
Brees
Brady
numbers.
only had what? 12
12 or 13.
and 4?
Yes,
I think it was like a 12 and 4.
you get what I'm saying? That's
record.
Brady's numbers. So I'm giving him, I say 10 games, definitely. 10 to 11 games, definitely.
And for a rookie, that's impressive.
That's very impressive.
And I think, to be honest with you, this year, I think that he definitely wins more than 10 games. Like, I find it hard. I would find it hard to believe that he doesn't win more than 10 games this year. It's gonna be awesome to watch. All right, so before we roll over in time, we're gonna go and give you one last little hit.
One last little hit. Again, June 14th, 2019, Worcester Palladium. Kyrie Todd is fighting. Co-main event fight, $70 ringside, $40 general admission. Doors open at 6 p.m. The fight is at 7. He's the co-main event, so there's gonna be guys fighting before him and one guy fighting after him. So just go support. Even if you don't go, maybe shoot $20, $30, anything can help. Just support the guy. And then also, you got the Simi Anderson and Fred Hogan, Ward 6 Councilor Fred Hogan's presenting the Protect Our Streets City Awareness Game. It's a basketball showdown, East Lynn versus West Lynn. This is not an MIAA event or it's not a school event. It's an event held by two great guys in the city of Lynn. And also, there's a whole Stop the Violence committee that this part of for the awareness. Again, elementary boys start at 4 p.m. The middle school starts at 5. The women's game is at 6. High school game at 7. And the men's division is at 8. The date is June 6, 2019. That's on a Thursday. $5 admission, and the location is at Thurgood Marshall Middle School in Lynn. If you don't know what Thurgood Marshall, the new Thurgood Marshall Middle School, not the old, for all you old people, not the old Thurgood Marshall Middle School, the new one. It's on 100 Brookline Street. And shout out to school committee member John Ford, State Representative Peter Capano, and my guy, Ward 6 Councilor Fred Hogan, for hosting this nice event. Anything for the kids. So if you want to support the kids, it's $5. Please go show your support, love. You know, you gotta support who supports you always.
And I can't say it enough. Like, this is our city, and we gotta take care of our people, because if we don't, no one else will. So absolutely show your support for these events and for these people, and show out. And to me personally, I think it would be exciting to go to these to go to the game. So definitely show your support.
I might drag you there.
Yeah, you might have. Hey, maybe we take some cell phone shots, post them on the show. You never know. So I look forward to seeing people at this game. I hope you guys show out. We also would appreciate your support. Go to our YouTube channel, Gym Bag, one word, Gym Bag Entertainment, and check out our shows. We now have 3 shows. We have The Flex with your boy, just me. Then you have the greatest show on earth, The Endzone, with me and your boy AC, putting on that football show. And then finally you have the latest addition to Gym Bag Entertainment, and that is Tale of the Tape, where me and my buddy Mike Johnson, we give you the updates of what fights are coming up and the updates of the winners of each show, a little bit of tidbits of information and how our personal feelings about what goes down. And with UFC, there's fights almost every week, so that's going to be awesome.
You guys do boxing too?
We do tidbits.
Okay.
I will bring up our boys' fight to make sure that gets mentioned at the beginning of the show. But if there's a big, we
talk like Wilder.
We talked about the Wilder fight. We also talked about the Bellator fight when dude got Michael Venom Page got knocked out. Our focus is UFC, but we like to hit all combat sports when there's big name fights. But our focus is definitely UFC because that's what we know.
Yeah.
Check out all our shows, man. We're working hard to get this off the ground, and the only way we get this off the ground is with the support of our friends and our family and the friends of our friends and family. So we really hope that you can share us on Facebook, like us on our YouTube page, and just get us that support so we can get this off the ground. So I think that's all we have for you today. So until next week, I'm Craig.
And boy Ace.
And we'll see you in the end zone.
See you in the end zone.
Have a good night.